Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead with our discussion. So till now we have seen uh, transformer basic operation and transformer I mean phasor diagram. What is an ideal transformer and phasor diagram for an ideal transformer under no load condition and under loaded condition, inductive load condition. We have already seen the actual transformer, that means a real transformer under no load condition and when an inductive load is connected. Okay, and this is the expression what we have got for the primary voltage in terms of resistance and leakage reactance of the transformer primary winding and the voltage drop E1. Okay, and the transformer rating is usually expressed in kVA, because even though you have a pure inductive load on the secondary side, the real power consumption is 0, but reactive power consumption will be there, and that's why the rating of transformer is in kVA, not in kilowatts. Okay, that's what we have seen. Right, so now we will, after understanding all these things, now we will try to draw the equivalent circuit of the transformer. Okay, right, we'll call it as exact equivalent circuit of the transformer. Okay, after that we will see an approximate equivalent circuit and what is the difference and why it is needed also we'll see. Okay, so exact equivalent circuit. So what is equivalent circuit? Equivalent circuit is simply a circuit representation of the equations describing the performance of the device. Okay, right, so these two equations are going to determine the performance of the device, that we have seen how we have arrived at these two equations. Okay, so using these two equations we have to draw the equivalent circuit of single phase transformer. Okay, right, so E1 we have already seen, it is considered as the voltage drop in the direction of current I1. Okay, and its magnitude, if you remember, it is proportional to frequency, number of turns, and maximum value of flux in the core. Okay, so the primary current when the load is connected, it is given by I1 is equals to I1 dash plus IE. IE is excitation current and I1 dash is a load component of primary current. IE can be resolved into IC and IM. IC represents the core losses, IM represents the magnetizing current. Okay, right. These all we have seen, and the current IM. So using these two equations, can you try to draw the equivalent circuit? You just have a try. Okay, so on the primary side you have voltage, after that some resistance and reactance drop should be there, after that E1 should be there. This is on the primary side. After that you will have windings, primary and secondary windings, and after that you should have a circuit similar to this equation. E2 is equals to V2 plus I2 into R2 plus J into X2. Okay, so just have a try. Okay, so we'll see the circuit later. So you just try to draw whatever you feel like based on the equations 1 and 2. Is anyone trying or not?
Trying.
Okay, so on the extreme left you should have voltage V1, after that some resistance and reactance drop should be there, after that windings, and after that the secondary circuit. Okay, let's see that. So maybe you might have tried something. So let's cross check whether you have drawn is matching with what I have drawn or not. Okay. Right. So this will be the equivalent circuit, exact equivalent circuit of a transformer. Right. The left hand side circuit part is your primary circuit. So what should be there? V1 should be there at the extreme left. Okay, so this is the equation what you are getting after applying KVL for the loop. Okay, so V1 is equals to I1 into R1, right? That is there, plus I1 into J into X1, that is also there, and E1 dash, E1. E1 is the voltage across the winding. That means that voltage is induced in your primary winding. Okay, so that is E1, which is considered as a drop in the direction of current I1. Correct. So this will be your E1 part. Okay, and IE is related to the core of the transformer. Correct na? So IE is the current which is flowing even when there is no load on the secondary side. Okay, when the core is connected, obviously some amount of current flows. So that's why this parallel branch is adjacent to your core, because this is your transformer winding which consists of core. So just adjacent to the core you are having this circuit. Okay, so IE we have already seen it's a phasor addition of IC and IM. So IE is equals to IC plus IM. Okay, and IC will be in phase with E1. If you remember yesterday, IC will be in phase with E1. That means something like a resistance term, because voltage and current are in phase. So that should flow through some resistance. That's why the current and voltage are in phase. Okay. So IC and IE are in phase. So RC is the one which is representing the core losses in your transformer. Okay. Some losses existing means it should flow through resistance only. Then only that can be considered as a loss. Okay. Right. So RC represents the core loss resistance. Okay. And XM, right? IM is actually 90 degrees. I mean lagging with respect to E1, right? In the phasor diagram. So E1 will be leading IM by 90 degrees, or IM will be lagging E1 by 90 degrees. So something which is lagging means it should be an inductive nature. So that's why I have represented that current which is flowing through some element. It should be an inductive nature. So you have J into XM as this one. Is it clear? So voltage, resistance drop, reactance drop, excitation current IE, and IE resolved into IC and IM. This is the equivalent of your transformer core, electrical equivalent of the magnetic core of the transformer. Okay, so that's what this shunt branch indicates. And we know I1 is equals to I1 dash plus IE. So that's why it is shown here, and I1 dash will be coming into picture only when I2 is flowing in the secondary winding. Okay, so that's why I1 dash is flowing, since I2 is flowing. Right, coming to the secondary side, E2 should be equals to V2 plus I2 into R2 plus J into X2. So this is your E2, R2, J into X2, and this is your V2, and the current I2 is flowing the secondary winding. Right, is it clear? I mean, the two equations what I have written are represented in the form of a circuit. Okay, or the circuits represent the equations which we have already shown. Got it? So I have already explained the current IM lags E1 by 90 degrees, and this can be represented in the equivalent circuit by a reactance XM. So that's why it is shown as J into XM. Resistance RC is the core loss resistance, and XM is the magnetizing reactance. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have studied this equivalent circuit in your +2 or somewhere?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then So these two equations are represented in the form of a circuit in this fashion. This is called as equivalent circuit of a single phase transformer. Okay, so now these two windings, what I am showing here, those are like ideal windings. That means the effect of the resistance in the winding is shown here, R1. The effect of resistance in the secondary winding is shown in R2. The effect of the core, which is drawing excitation current and which is having a core losses. That means core should be present actually in between the windings, right? So that magnetic core equivalent circuit is represented as a shunt branch here in terms of RC and XM. Okay, so that means this is actually shown in the figure, but this does not have any significance because the equivalent of the core is shown in the electrical circuit. The equivalent of the resistance is also shown as an electrical parameter on the secondary side. The equivalent of the resistance present in the winding is also shown as an electrical parameter on the primary side. Okay, so that means this is an ideal winding, that's all. Even if you remove this, it doesn't create any difference. Okay, this is an ideal thing. This does not have any significance. Okay, because from electrical point of view, all the equivalent or analogous to your magnetic circuit is already shown in the circuit. Is it clear? Right. So if you, get some expressions from this circuit, PC. PC is what PC stands for?
Power in
Power
consumed, sir.
core, power consumed in core by RC.
Okay, so power consumed in the core or core losses. Okay, both mean the same. So PC stands for core losses. P for power and C for core. So PC stands for core losses. What is the equivalent circuit of the core? This shunt branch. What is the power consuming element in these two? It is only RC. Okay, so power is equals to I square into R or V into I. Okay, so V is,
One vote, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, generally the average power consumed by an inductive source would be zero, no, sir. But how can power consumed will be zero, sir?
This is average power only.
Okay.
This is P. Capital letters always stands for average. Okay. When capital P indicates average power only. Okay. Small p indicates instantaneous power. Okay. So we are talking about average power only. PC means. Okay. So PC is equals to V into I, which is E1 into IC or IC square into RC. Both are same. Okay. Right. So this is how you can calculate or get the formula for core losses in the transformer. Okay. And what is the relation between E1 and E2? We already know. E1 by E2 is N1 by N2. Okay. Right. So this is called as exact equivalent circuit of a single phase transformer showing all the resistance and leakage reactance of the primary, resistance and leakage reactance of the secondary, and the shunt branch. This is called as shunt branch. Okay. So this is placed adjacent to the winding since this represents the electrical circuit of the magnetic core which is present in the winding. Okay, so that's why it is shown here. Okay, so this is called as exact equivalent circuit. Okay, so now, but what happens is in an exact equivalent circuit, if you see the voltage E1, let's say 100 volts, based on N1 and N2 turns, E2 will be at a different voltage. Okay, so E1 is at one potential and E2 is at another potential. Okay, because it depends on N1 and N2 ratio. If N1 and N2 are equal, then they are equal. Otherwise, they are at different voltage levels. Okay, so analyzing, if I want to analyze or if I want to study the transformer based on the circuit. Okay, so generally everyone will talk in terms of circuit only. Okay, Even the real transformer, they will, if they want to study something from this, they will draw the equivalent circuit and study whatever losses they want to calculate. Okay, but one thing we should understand is one is at a voltage level of E1 and the circuit is at a voltage level of E2. Okay, so analyzing this kind of circuit or studying this circuit which has different voltage levels is not that much convenient for us to study. So what they will do is they will try to transfer all the parameters which are on the secondary side to primary side, or all the parameters which are on the primary side to secondary side. Okay, then it becomes a single circuit. Okay, I have two circuits of different voltage levels. I want to convert this into a single circuit. Okay, so that it will be more easy for me to study or understand. Okay, so we will try to see that. Okay, so how to do that? I'll just say for only for resistance, right? So here the resistance is R2 and the current flowing is I2. Okay, so what is the voltage drop on the secondary side because of resistance? Voltage drop across the resistance R2 in the secondary winding.
R2 I2 bar.
So R2 into I2 will be the voltage drop on the secondary side. Okay, if I want to transfer this voltage onto the primary side, that voltage drop onto the primary side, what will be the multiplication factor?
N1 upon N2
N1 by upon N2 by whole square.
N2 का whole square.
I am talking about voltage drop.
V
Voltages are transferred in the direct ratio. Resistance and reactance are transferred in the direct ratio square. Okay, and current is transferred in the reverse ratio. If you remember that we have discussed in the past, but anyway I will show you once here. Okay,
Sir, V1 equal to
VR
I2 R2 N1 upon N2.
yeah, correct.
So we are
Right.
transferring voltage or resistance.
We'll see that. First we'll try to see the voltage, then we'll get a conclusion for resistance. Okay. Okay, so in transformer analysis, it is usual to transfer the secondary quantities to primary side or primary quantities to secondary side. Okay, right. So if I do that, then I will get a single circuit and I can study that single circuit more easily compared to studying two different circuits of different voltage levels. Okay, so secondary resistance drop I2 into R2. This is the actual resistance drop on the secondary winding because of resistance, which is I2 into R2. When transferred to primary side is multiplied by N1 by N2. Okay, so that means voltage is transferred in the direct ratio. Direct ratio means to which winding you are moving. Okay, so that number of turns should be on the numerator and the other winding turns on the denominator. Okay, so I2 into R2 when transferred onto the primary side, it will have an impact of this fashion. Okay, so I2 into R2 into N1 divided by N2. Got it? Right. Voltage drop. That means the primary side, if you see the primary source will see that this much amount of drop is occurring. Okay. Even though I2 into R2 is actual drop on the secondary winding, for primary it will be seen like I2 into R2 into N1 divided by N2 because of the turns ratio existing between the two. Okay, right. So I2 into R2 into N1 divided by N2. So we know how to write I2. So I2 will be I1 into N1 divided by N2. We have already discussed this. Okay, and R2 is written as it is, and N1 by N2 is also written as it is. So if you simplify this, you are going to get I1 into R2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. So I will call this term R2 into N1 divided by N2 as R2 dash. Now R2 dash is equals to R2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. Okay, right. So that's what someone has already told. So the equivalent of resistance R2, which is existing in the secondary, it's equivalent in the primary is denoted as R2 dash, right? And R2 dash is given as R2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. Okay. Therefore, the total resistance in the primary circuit is RE1 is equals to R1 plus R2 dash, which is nothing but this one. Got it?
Yes.
Right. So if you are transferring secondary quantities to primary side, you will denote with R2 dash. Okay. So dash indicates it's not related to that winding. It is coming from some other winding. Okay. From where it is coming? From secondary 2. So the subscript 2 indicates from where I am moving. Okay. Dash indicates I am not the actual one. I am coming from somewhere else. Okay. Right. So if R2 dash is placed in the primary circuit, then the relation between the voltages V1 and V2 is unaffected. Okay. Okay. Right. So that means by transferring the resistance from secondary to primary using this conversion N1 by N2 whole square, you are not going to affect your circuit analysis. Nothing is going to change from electrical point of view. Okay. And R2 dash is the resistance referred to primary side. Okay. That means it is a secondary resistance referred to primary side. Got it? So this terminology you'll get used to that. Okay. So R2 dash means it is a secondary resistance referred to primary side. Okay. And RE1, if I say RE1, it is the equivalent resistance on the primary. Okay. Total equivalent resistance of the primary. Okay. Which is nothing but R1, which is already existing in the primary winding, and R2 dash is coming from the secondary side. Okay. So this is the total equivalent resistance. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, here the secondary resistance drop is acting on the primary one, no, sir?
Yeah, we have moved from secondary to primary.
Yes, sir. Sir, can we move from a primary to secondary, sir?
Yes, we can do that. That also we'll see in the next slide. Okay. We can do that also. Not only resistance
Sir.
react. Yeah.
Sir, why we are
moving means I have already told here. This circuit is, let's say, based on the turns ratio, the voltage on the primary side is not the same as voltage on the secondary side. You are understanding? Why means if I give 100 volts as V1 and N2 is, let's say, 1000 and N1 is 100. So what will be E2 approximately? Let's say E1 is 100 volts. Okay. And N2 is 1000 and N1 is 100. So what will be E2? Given by this expression. Okay. So 100 into 1000 divided by 100. So it will become 1000 volts. Okay. So that means all these parameters are at a voltage level of 1000 volts. That means this circuit, which is not connected to primary winding actually. Okay. They are not actually electrically connected. So this is at 100 volts level, I mean 1000 volts level, and this one is at 100 volts level. Okay. So it is hard for me to study, or it is difficult for me to understand what is actually happening. Okay. When the two voltage levels are at different. Okay. Right. You are understanding now? Right. So that is the reason why I am trying to transfer all the parameters which are on the secondary side to one winding. Okay, secondary to primary. So then the next, whatever the circuit which I get after transferring, so all the parameters will be at 100 volts level. Okay. So then if I ask you to calculate efficiency or power loss, then it is easy for me to calculate. Right. So that is the reason why we are transferring all the parameters onto any one particular winding. Okay.
Sir, one doubt.
Yeah.
Are we shifting all parameters from the side of a higher potential to the side of lower potential, sir?
It is not like that. You can transfer to any winding. All the secondaries can be transferred to primary, or all the primaries can be transferred to secondary. No issue. Okay. Only thing is, the objective is to make the circuit at own voltage level. That is our objective. That's all. Whether you are transferring from lower voltage to higher voltage or higher voltage lower voltage, it's up to you. Okay. Right. So the reason for transferring is I want a complete equivalent circuit at own voltage level. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. Right. So we have seen what is the equivalent resistance onto the primary side. What could be the equivalent reactance onto the primary side? If X2 is the reactance on the secondary side, what will be the equivalent if I transfer onto the primary side? You should be able to say.
into whole square.
X2 into N1 by N2 whole square. X2 dash is equals to X2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. Okay. Right. So can anyone guess what will happen to V2 if I transfer onto the primary side? V2 transferred onto the primary side. V2 is a voltage.
Sir, may decrease, sir.
Okay, you say in terms of N1 and N2. Voltage is transferred in the direct ratio. So V2 on to the primary, what will happen?
N1 by N2.
V2 N1 by N2.
That's all. Simply you have to multiply V2 with N1 by N2. That will be the equivalent voltage that will come onto the primary side. Okay, we'll see that anyway. Right, because voltage is transferred in the direct ratio. So this is called as approximate equivalent circuit. Okay, so the previous one what you have seen is called as exact equivalent circuit. Okay, now we are going to see an approximate equivalent circuit. The difference between the exact equivalent circuit and the approximate equivalent circuit is the shunt branch, which is adjacent to your winding or the core. I am trying to move close to the voltage V1. Okay, this is for simplification only. So this shunt branch, which is adjacent to the core, if I move to this point adjacent to V1, that is called as approximate equivalent circuit. Okay, right. So usually people will use this approximate equivalent circuit because we'll see that anyway. Right. So here we are seeing an approximate equivalent circuit with all parameters referred to primary side. Okay. Right. So R1, which is already in the primary, so it's not going to change. So it will remain R1 only. And J into X1, it remains same. R2 dash, which is coming from the secondary winding onto the primary side. So you'll call it as R2 dash. Okay. And what is R2 dash? R2 dash is equals to R2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. Similarly, X2 dash, which is coming from the secondary to primary, is given as X2 dash is equals to X2 into N1 divided by N2 whole square. And V2, which is coming from the secondary, now we will call it as V2 dash. Okay. That is given as already V2 what is existing on the secondary multiplied with N1 by N2. Right. So these are the only three parameters which are present in the secondary winding. So I have got all these three onto the primary side with multiplying after multiplying with the corresponding multiplication factor. Okay, this one. And this shunt branch, which was supposed to be at this point, right? I have moved to the left. Okay, so this is called as approximate equivalent circuit. Okay, right. So here R2 dash. Okay, so what is the total equivalent resistance on the primary side now? We will denote it as RE1 which is R1 plus R2 dash, right? R2 dash you already know. Equivalent, total equivalent reactance, which is denoted as Xe1. Okay, because it refers to primary side, that's why the 1 is coming. Xe1 is equals to X1 plus X2 dash. Got it? And the total impedance will be obviously Re1 plus J into Xe1. I mean, simple addition of these two, further addition, Re plus J into Xe1. And what is I1 dash? We already know. I1 dash is equals to I2 into N2 divided by N1. Only the current is in reverse ratio. Remaining things are in the direct ratio. Got it? So those terminologies are also mentioned here. Here R2 dash and X2 dash are the equivalent resistance and reactance referred to primary side from secondary. Okay. The subscript indicates from where you are coming, and the dash is means that I am not related to the same circuit. I am coming from somewhere else. That's why this dash is shown. Okay. The relationship between V1 and V2 is unaffected. Parameters Re1, Xe1 and Ze1 represent the total equivalent resistance, reactance and impedance referred to primary side. Got it? So E in the subscript indicates the equivalent, total equivalent. Okay, total equivalent resistance in the primary, total equivalent resistance and reactance in the primary, total equivalent impedance in the primary. Got it? Right. So by transferring the shunt branch, which was supposed to be here, onto the extreme left, that means adjacent to V1, we are calling it as approximate equivalent circuit referred to primary. Okay, so what could be the error by doing this modification or by doing this change? Okay, what is the error is IE does not flow through R1 and X1. Usually IE should flow through R1 and X1 if it is here, but since I have shifted to the extreme left, IE is not flowing through R1 and X1. Okay, whereas IE does flow through R1 and X1 in the exact equivalent circuit. Thus, the drop due to IE into R1 plus X1 is neglected. That means we are neglecting the voltage drop due to IE into R1 plus JX1. That is the only error, or that is the only change we are going to make. Okay, and this modification and the error which is coming because of this modification is very negligible. Okay, because the excitation current will be very small compared to I1 dash. Okay, right. The percentage of excitation current I will show in the next slide. Okay, so that error will be very negligible, which can be neglected, because by doing that change, the circuit can be analyzed much easily. Okay, right. Is it clear? So this is called as approximate equivalent circuit referred to primary. Got it? All the variables, their notation and the terminology for all these variables. Okay. If you know resistance, reactance and impedance terminology, that is enough. That's all. Okay. Right. Hope you got it. Okay. So now we will see what will be the approximate equivalent circuit if all the parameters are transferred onto secondary side. Okay. So you can just have a try for 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see what will be the circuit after that. Okay. So you can just try what will be the approximate equivalent circuit. So try to see this circuit. Okay, the exact equivalent circuit what I am showing on the screen, and try to transfer all these elements onto the primary elements onto the secondary side. Okay, so try to do that. Approximate equivalent circuit I am saying, so this branch should be very close to V2. The shunt branch, which is actually should be at the middle of these two, in an approximate equivalent circuit, it will be moving to the extreme, I mean right, for the transfer parameters refer to secondary side. Okay. So by seeing this exact equivalent circuit, try to draw the approximate equivalent circuit refer to secondary side. You are trying to draw, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how to proceed for that? So first we have to start that the secondary is existing as it is. That means V2 is existing same way, and R2 and J into X2 remains the same. So you have to transfer the resistance R1, J into X1 onto the secondary side, and V1 also needs to be transferred onto the secondary side. Okay. Right. So when you transfer this resistance onto the secondary side, you will call it as R1 dash. Okay. So what will be the value of that R1 dash?
R1 into N2 by N whole square.
Okay. Right. So R1 dash is equals to R1 into N1, N2 divided by N1 whole square. Similarly, X1 dash is equals to X1 into N2 divided by N1 whole square. What about voltage V1?
V1 dash is equal to V1 into N2 by N1.
Right. V1 into N2 by N1. So these three parameters are done. What is left? Shunt branch is left.
I1 dash.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see that. Okay. So shunt branch is also left, which is called as IE. So if you transfer this IE onto the secondary side, we'll call it as IE dash. So what will be that? IE dash is equals to
IE into N1 by N2.
IE into N1 by N2. Because for resistance and reactance and voltage, where you are moving, that should be in the numerator. Okay. So N2 will be in the numerator. For current, it is opposite. Okay. So I2 IE dash is equals to IE into N1 divided by N2. Similarly for IC and similarly for IM. And RC same as R1, XM same as X1. Okay. And this shunt branch should be placed very close to your V2. That's what approximate means. Okay. Approximate means I should place this shunt branch close to the voltage on the secondary side. Right. So let's see that. Right. So as someone has already told, so V2 remains the same, R2 remains the same, X2 remains the same, R1 dash j into x1 dash coming into picture, and v1 dash is nothing but v1 into n2 divided by n1, right? And rc dash and xm dash, ie dash, these all are same. All these are given here, right? ie dash is equals to I into n1 divided by n2. R1 dash, x1 dash is there. RC dash, xm dash is also same, similar to this. Now the total resistance, equivalent resistance on the secondary is R2 plus R1 dash, right? Total equivalent reactance on the secondary, denoted as Xe2, is equals to x2 plus x1 dash, and Z is obviously R plus Jx. Okay, so this is this one. You are understanding, right? And the current, if you see the current on the primary, it is I1, so that should be multiplied with N1 divided by N2. So that is the current which is flowing in this. After transferring to secondary, that is the current which is flowing in the winding. I2 remains same as it is. Okay. Is it clear? If you have,
Yes,
if you understood the previous one, transferring onto the primary, it's the same thing. Only thing is the N1 by N2 factor or N2 by N1 factor will change. That's all. Got it. And remember, yeah.
Sir, the position of R2 and JX2, sir.
R2 and JX2. Okay. So if you talk about exact equivalent circuit, R2 and JX2 should be here. And this branch, shunt branch should be at this point. Okay. Shunt branch should be at the middle of these two. Since we are talking about approximate equivalent circuit, that is the reason why this shunt branch has moved close to V2. Okay. So that is exact equivalent circuit. This is approximate equivalent circuit. Both are correct. Only thing is, this will simplify my calculation process little bit.
Sir,
More.
do we got the same answer, sir?
No, I already told na some error will be there. So what is the error we will see here? Here R1 dash and X1 dash are the equivalent resistance and reactance referred to secondary side from primary. Okay, the terminologies I have given. Here IE dash is seen flowing through R2 plus J into X2. That's what you could see, na? So IE dash, which is coming out from this point node, is actually flowing through R2 plus J into X2. Though this is not true in an exact equivalent circuit. Why means in exact equivalent circuit, this shunt branch will be at the middle of these two. Okay, right. So this is an approximate equivalent circuit where you have moved the shunt branch close to V2. So now we are, this extra current IE dash is actually flowing in our analysis. Okay, right. So though this is not true in an exact equivalent circuit, so the voltage drop due to IE dash into R2 plus JX2 is included in the circuit. Okay, so an extra voltage drop is included in your circuit. That voltage drop is IE dash into R2 plus J into X2. Okay, so this is the error which you are getting if you are using exact equivalent, I mean approximate equivalent circuit. Okay, so the error will be this much. Okay, since the excitation current is only 2 to 6% of the rated current. That means if your actual current I2 is 100 amperes, the excitation current will be 2 to 6%. Okay, so something like 2 amperes or 6 amperes. Okay, of the rated current. Rated current means secondary current I2. Okay, so the error introduced by this is insignificant. Understood. So the excitation current is only 2 to 6% of the rated current. So the voltage drop because of this excitation current created in the after transferring to secondary is very small. So this can be neglected. Okay, or this will not create much variation in your study. So that is the reason why they use approximate equivalent circuit. Is it clear? So some error will be there, but the error can be neglected. Okay. Got it? Okay. So this is regarding exact equivalent circuit and approximate equivalent circuit referred to primary and approximate equivalent circuit referred to secondary. Great. If you have a transformer which is more than 100 kVA. Okay, so in that scenario, you will have the secondary current. Let's say single phase transformer of 100 kVA. So what will be the voltage on the secondary side? Approximately, let's say 230 volts. I'm just giving an example. Okay, right. So 100 kVA transformer is there, and let's say power factor is unity. So what will be the current on the secondary side if the secondary voltage is 230 volts? You're understanding, na? Let's consider a 100 kVA transformer and the secondary voltage V2 is 230 volts. What will be the current I2 on the secondary approximately? You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat?
If I give you a transformer of 100 kVA and secondary voltage is, let's say, 230 volts. So what will be the current on the secondary side? 100 kVA divided by 230, that's all. Okay, kVA is the product of voltage and current. Okay, so 100 kVA divided by 230 volts, that will be the current. Got it? So why I'm trying to say this is, so what will be that current approximately? Can anyone say 100? That means 100 into 1000 divided 100 into 1000.
434.78.
Okay, so approximately something like 430 amperes. So secondary current is 430 amperes, and the excitation current will be 2 to 6% of that. So 2 to 6% of that is how much?
8
8 amperes. Okay, 8 or 10, whatever it may be. Correct, na? So it is, I mean, let's say consider 5%. 5% of 430 amperes, how much? 10% will be something like 43, and I mean 5% will be
215.
okay,
260.4.
20 amperes, no?
Yes, sir. 21.
21. Okay. So 5% of 430 amperes on the secondary will be something like 21 point something, whatever it may be. Okay. So 21 amperes, right? So that much is the, I mean, current which will be drawn by this excitation current. So why I'm trying to say this is, in a transformer which is more than 100 kVA, even nowadays it's much more than 100 kVA transformers are also there. In that scenario, what they will do is, for ease of calculation, they will assume that this excitation current is very negligible and they will remove this entire branch. Okay, so that they will do only for transformers which are rated more than 100 kVA or so. Okay, right. So that they will call it as simplified approximate equivalent circuit. Everything, right? Everything is same. Only that shunt branch they have simply removed it. That's all. Because that error which is going to take place is negligible. They will consider for this much large transformer, and they will call it as simplified approximate equivalent circuit. Okay, right. So generally, for large transformers only, this circuit they will use. Otherwise, they will use approximate equivalent circuit, which we have seen just now. Okay, something like this one. Is it clear? So simplified approximate equivalent circuit is nothing but simply remove the excitation current IE, or set excitation current IE equals to 0. So R1 plus JX1, R2 dash plus JX2, this all remains same. Okay, similar to the circuit, I mean, refer to primary side. We have already seen, na? Only thing is, this here you should have the shunt branch that is removed. That's all. Everything else remains same. This is called as simplified approximate equivalent circuit, and this they will use only when the transformer rating is more than 100 kVA. Okay, so So that's all. That's regarding the equivalent circuit. So generally in our study we will use approximate equivalent circuit. Okay. So when you see the problems related to calculation of efficiency or whatever it may be, so we'll mostly use the approximate equivalent circuit which is shown here. Okay. Refer to primary or refer to secondary based on the requirement. Is it clear? Right. So this is regarding your equivalent circuit, exact equivalent circuit, and the approximate and simplified equivalent circuit. How to transfer resistance and reactance onto the other side based on the turns ratio. You go through it. Okay. Voltage is direct ratio, resistance and reactance direct ratio square, current reverse ratio. That's all. Okay. And the subscript E indicates the equivalent resistance. That means the total equivalent resistance referred to primary. Okay. Right. So I think that's it for today. So already time is up. Okay. So next class on Monday we will see. Other part of the study. Okay. Right. So that's all for today. So you can leave now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We wrote V2 into N1 by N2. No? Sir, we wrote V2 into N1 by N2 only for our convenience, no, sir?